Hey guys, welcome to the Epic Creative YouTube channel. My name is Forrest Proctor, and today I want to make a quick video talking about this new AI video creation software that they're calling Minimax. Hey guys, before we get into this video, do me a huge favor. I would really appreciate it if you would like the video and subscribe to the channel. Definitely like the video because it helps it get out to more people. Let's get into this AI video creation software. Now, I have been on the AI train with my video production company for a long time, at least a year to 2 years at this point. And there's like a couple milestones, right? You know, there's the big chat GPT, machine learning, large language model milestone. And then there's kind of like the image generation milestone, which we've been, over that hurdle for a while. Images have been getting better and better and better. And then video came along, and the first video creation softwares and platforms were really janky. And so I kind of put them off for a while, but I have been really eager to incorporate it into my workflow or even just try to make some stuff from scratch for a long time now. And I've been really inspired lately by some guys I found called the Door Brothers Productions. I found them on LinkedIn, and they basically use AI to create ads, commercials, music videos, and they have some really good stuff. You should go check them out. And so I started diving back into it again because between myself and my dad and some other people, we have some really good stories that would cost a lot of money to produce with, normal cinema cameras and whatnot. And so I was like, you know what, maybe I can get back into AI video and see if there's some software out there that has improved. And wow, have they improved? You've got Luma, you've got Runway, and now you have this software called Minimax. Now, what's actually hilarious about it is I, started this journey a couple days ago trying to find the software to use, and I found this software, which is called Minimax, but it's also called Halo AI. So I'm not really sure what that's all about. Let me share my screen real quick. It's called Minimax, like when you look at the thumbnails of these images that I created, but then when you're on the software, it's called Halo AI. What's funny about it is it was like being showcased on all the YouTube platforms and stuff as like the only free, unlimited, video creation software, and they weren't lying. I found it the day before it went to paid. Which is hilarious. If I'd have found it a week or two before, I'd have way more images to show you guys, but they are now charging for the software. But the night before I found it, I knew, and I went to their, it was their LinkedIn said that tomorrow they'd be announcing their paid subscriptions or whatever. I jumped on and tried to create as many as I could. I could have created more, but we got to sleep as well. So today I'm not going to waste your time by like building prompts and then putting them in there, but I do want to show you some images that I came up with and how impressive they really are. So let's go ahead and do that now. And just to give a shout out to this YouTuber, I'm gonna put his link in the description. I can't remember his name, but he created a GPT for the prompts for this. So it's called Minimax Cinemotion Prompter. And basically here you can type in the shot you want, and then it will build the prompt according to how Minimax prefers the input. So it saves you a lot of time. It's by Tim Simmons, but that's not his YouTube channel. I'll link his channel down below. Make sure you go give him a sub. He's really good in terms of the AI and stuff like that, all the news that he brings. But let's go to this first shot that I didn't use Tim's prompt for, and this is something that I thought would be pretty easy to do. And I've done it on some other platforms like Runway and even Canva, which is linked to Runway. If you have a Canva account, you get 50 credits a month, and they only count, one video is 1 credit, so you get 50 free videos a month, which is actually a lot if you really look at all the pricing of these places. So I'm going to read you the prompt real quick for this lighthouse scene. So I was like mistyping. Go back, waves crashing against a bluff where a house and lighthouse are sitting. And as you can see, it did exactly that. And in my experience in the past or with other AI video softwares, the house might be janky. Sometimes there might be like, I don't know, a little whirlwind of grass spewing up and the lighthouse is morphing. But as you can see here with Minimax and Halo AI, it's pretty consistent across the board, and it's actually a really beautiful image. And so this to me I could drop this into a commercial or something where I needed some stock footage of just a coastline, and this would pass. To be honest, this would pass all of the physics that are going on down here towards the rocks seem to make sense. Sometimes I've tried this prompt before, by the way. When the water would hit the rocks, it would almost like take some of the rocks with it, almost like a mudslide. So this is really, really impressive. And when I put this in as my first prompt, I was blown away. And another thing that is surprising with some other like free plans that you can get with other softwares is when you download the video, it'll be like 480p or 720. This one is actually not HD, but pretty darn close at like a 1280 by 720. And so I find it to be pretty close to usable. And then you could also put some cinema bars on here to get rid of this Minimax. Of course, now that they have the paid plan, I'm sure you can just get rid of that watermark. And I'm curious to see what resolution they'll let you download. I'm not going to go through that today. I'm just kind of showing you the free side of things on Minimax and Halo AI. But yeah, that first shot I thought turned out really, really good. I'm going to go to this next shot now. So I've been working on this story with my dad about him and his childhood, or a childhood story that he has. It's actually really comical, but I was thinking, we could use that to create a film about it, just a short film. And I needed some kids in the 80s riding their bike down the road. So the prompt is 3 young boys riding their bikes down a dirt road in the country. 80s vibes, gritty cinematic shot on 35mm film, golden tones. It's kind of like golden hour, I guess, but that actually came out pretty good. I tried this prompt in Canva, Runway, and Luma. Each one of them gave me more of a painting, like it looked like a cartoon. And the faces and hands were absolutely horrendous. I'm not going to jump over there and show you those just because I don't really have it prepared. But, the faces and like the body parts weren't right. And then also, like half of the time, it was like their butts were on their fronts, like they were riding front backwards. It was really weird. I don't know why, but those other softwares couldn't really handle it. And then I did it again, and there was actually 5 kids, so I added these kids. And to be honest, and this one is a lot longer, as you can see, because I used Tim's prompt here. And again, his link is down in the description. Make sure you go check him out. But this one did really good. Like everything is staying really consistent. And the only beef I have with this one, and it's really not a deal breaker, but you can see these 2 kids in the back. You can't see them at first, and it's almost like they just appear from behind him. But honestly, this is probably the shot I would use if we were going to be using this shot for that. The next one, I was going a little nuts, and I wanted to make a cinematographer floating through space, creating the first cinematic film in space. And I was thinking it would put like actors and like producers and a set and grip crew floating around them, but I probably should have specified on that. And again, I did use Tim's prompt generator on his custom GPT, but even though it didn't come out with what I had kind of envisioned, everything is hyper consistent. This chick is floating through the space with a fur coat on and looks like a DSLR rig up and a jetpack. And there's nothing morphing. I think that's the big thing with these AI video generators is we had to get rid of that morphing effect. I know you guys probably remember the old Will Smith videos that first came out when all this started. They were very terrifying. And if you're going for that, that's fine, but we're not going for that. Next video is I wanted to create the skyline of New York City on New Year's Eve. And if you look really closely at some of these buildings, there are some funky things going on with the corner of that one. But other than that, it's not high detail because there's a lot of detail in the shot and it's not high resolution. But I mean, this is pretty good. It doesn't quite look like New York. Some of the buildings are a little too jagged for New York. It's got some characteristics of Tokyo mixed with New York. But overall, just from a distance, which I know we don't want to watch video from a distance, and we want things to be high resolution and we want them to be good, and we're still not there, we're a lot closer. This is really good. And if you needed this shot for something that was going to be playing on a big screen as a background with some text overlaid, this shot would work. I'm just saying, nobody's going to say anything. Nobody's going to know. This shot's going to work. The next shot is actually pretty funny. So let's check it out. Okay, so for a time in my life, I was working for a company that forced me to move to Joshua Tree, California. And I just have like sort of a sweet spot for Joshua Tree, even though I'm from Mississippi. And I wanted to have a Panda, a steampunk Panda riding a motorcycle through the Joshua Tree Desert, and I used Tim's prompt thing for this. What is hilarious about it is I was thinking of like this gritty panda, and I didn't put enough detail, I guess, but what came out was literally the Kung Fu Panda character. Like, not even a little bit. It is exactly the Kung Fu Panda Jack Black character. And I don't know what that's all about, but it's very interesting to me how perfect it is. And this one is definitely in the top two of consistent videos. Like, everything is really smooth. Nothing's really morphing. Now, if you look really closely, there's like dancing pixels, but I think that's just the nature of it. I think Runway's paid version is probably still the best in terms of having that clean image. But even like, it looks like there's heat waves back here in the back, off of the desert ground, which is very interesting if it did that on its own, which I don't know what these things are using to learn. They're probably using books and videos, and there's probably information that it's pulling that talks about how, these mirages are formed. But it's hilarious that it's using the Kung Fu Panda and how perfect he is, but there he is, right? So let's move on to the next shot. I thought that was really interesting. This shot is Gecko playing guitar in a steampunk underground environment type thing, and even though the shot's really weird and out there, it's really good. It's really clean. It kind of reminds me of a Midjourney image turned to video. And they do have, by the way, and we're going to get into that in just a second, these are all text to video that I'm showing you now, but we're about to start looking at some image to video, okay? So you'll get to see some of that. So pretty cool shot. I really like it. There's some funky stuff going on here, but it could be explained by, that's just it. When you're doing fantasy, you have a lot more leeway for weird things to be happening because there's magic. There's, the rules of this earth don't necessarily apply to fantasy. So that's actually a really cool shot, and I'm pretty happy with that. Don't know where I would ever use it, but there it is. Okay, guys, so let me show you on this next image we're going to be looking at is going to be right here. All right, so this is like a bluesman playing the guitar in the neon/lantern lit streets of New Orleans. Okay, I'm from the South. I'm just an hour or so from New Orleans. My family's from Cutoff, Louisiana. I practically grew up. If you live down here, it's a little different than just being secluded to one city. I feel like I grew up on the Gulf Coast completely. So New Orleans is a part of my home, and this is very New Orleans-y. I can just tell you from walking these streets many a nights, like, this looks like New Orleans, and it looks like a little bit older New Orleans. And I don't know, it's just a really good image. And let me show you, this one is a image to video. So I actually created the initial image inside of Dolly, ChatGPT's image creation software, and I really like the image, and then I took it into Photoshop and did the expand tool where I made it into a 16:9, style or shape, aspect ratio, whatever. And the inspiration actually comes from this, which is a painting that someone I know did for me in my office, and it's just an old bluesman sitting, on a corner with a crescent moon, supposed to be New Orleans. But I actually used that for the initial image, then took the image and stretched it in Photoshop, and then brought it into Minimax or Halo AI and had it do a slow push in. As the other thing is, it's just like Runway, just like Luma in my experience. You can do camera movements, and it has a certain way that you want it to put it in there, which is where Tim's GPT comes in handy. Thank you so much, Tim. I will be using that a lot going forward, and I will be getting the paid plan for this, I believe, if it doesn't compromise the paid plan for Runway, because Runway seems to be the leader, and if I can just get Runway for $80 a month, I'll just get that, to be honest with you. But it is very impressive that you can do this in a free software, or you could do it in a free software. As of today, the software is paid, so you have to pay for it. But really like this shot, really like the way it came out. It's like a slow push in. His fingers, honestly, as a guitar player, like, nothing in his fingers is going nuts, which we're going to talk about some of that here in a second, because this software is not perfect. As of now, everything's been really good, and I think that's what's inspired me to make this video. So if we go to the next shot, we've got sort of the same scene, right? I was playing off that same scene because I have another story that I want to tell about my experience playing the blues and being from the South and some of my good and bad experiences in the music industry. But to tell that story, I want to use AI. And this is like the same shot, but it was supposed to be of his face and then pulling out. And to be honest, it's spot on. Like even the way that he pulls back into the sky and looks up at the sky and closes his eyes. If you're a musician or specifically a guitar player and specifically someone who plays the blues, you'll know what that is, like what he's doing there. And it's just spot on. I mean, it's got a very B.B. King, R.L. Burnside look to it. Really more R.L. Burnside, but really good. And this, again, is another... Let's see if I can find it real quick. This is another image to video. So there's the original image, which I actually really like. I didn't do any expansion in Photoshop with this one. I just brought it straight into Minimax and had it animated, and I thought it did a really good job. I'm trying to see, even the word blues, all the words here are retained. The cars look really good. There's this mist that comes from the manholes in New Orleans that, you know, you'd have to just go there to know what I'm talking about. But it even kind of throws some of that in here. And it rains a lot in New Orleans, and that's what gives it that, you know, wet down look on the ground. So this is just an incredible image, in my opinion. I really love it. Okay, so I was trying to play off of that, and I wanted one more image of a close-up of the guy's foot, like tapping next to a... you know, guitar case with a few tips in it, not too many tips, because you don't ever get a lot of tips down there, to be honest. But I tried that, and let me show you what happened. This is where the software kind of broke down, and in fairness, I only tried it one time. I'll try it again, and we'll see what happens, but this is what happened here. You can see there is some funky stuff going on, some Looney Tunes looking stuff. But man, if he would have been just regular, consistent, metronoming it with his toe, tapping, we would have been Gucci. Like that would have worked really good. But what we'll do, since you're here, I said I wasn't going to do any prompts or anything, but I'm just going to copy the prompt, and I'm going to come here and I'm going to paste it. Oh, 30 credits. How many credits do I get? Let's see if it'll even let me do it. Man, I was on the free, bro. Like this thing was free. There were people making full on Jumanji trailers with Will Smith and Dwayne Johnson in them. All right, so it's loading. We're going to let that load, and we'll come back and look at it. Okay, guys, so previously it was telling me that it would take 3 to 4 minutes, sometimes 7 minutes on some of those generations that you saw. It is now saying it's going to take 29 minutes, and I really don't have time for that because I'm about to head to Disney with my family. So I just wanted to jump on here and make this quick video about this new AI video creation software. Now that they're doing a paid version of it, I'm not quite sure if this is the one I'm going to go with or it's going to be Runway. I am about to purchase one of the two because I am going to go headstrong into creating content with AI and for commercial purposes and for my own storytelling purposes. I'm not going to abandon documentary filmmaking or my clients or anything like that, but I do want it as a tool in my toolbox, and I think it's finally gotten to the point where I'm ready to do that. So if you're into that kind of stuff, if you're into content about owning a video production company, definitely subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.